Okay, so this video is for Vinder Singh, who asked me to do a video on my thoughts on Julio Cesar Chavez's recent shock defeat to Mario Cazares. I mean, this picture kind of sums it up, right? You look at Julio Cesar Chavez's face. It's sort of same face you pull when you know you've messed up. The face you pull, like when you're at a parents' evening and you're messing around with your friends and you know that the parents that you know that you've not been doing well at school, and you look across to your parents after they call your name, after they've heard the report, and you look across and you see your mum and your dad look at you very disapprovingly. You know you're going to get licks when you get home, and you look across. It's that same look. I know that look. I've done that look. That looks a few times when you've been caught red-handed. That look that you pull, you say, "Uh-oh, I've let the family down again." That look you have when you say, "It's when I get home, I'm going to get whooped." That look that I used to get. Well, you know what? I didn't do so well at school today, or I've, the teacher's not has dobbed me up, he's snitched on me. So now I I'm gonna have to deal with this. So I better find my Bible real quick. Wherever my Bible is, I better find it and run to my room when I get home. I'll start reading my Bible real quick because I'm going to get some serious licks. Licks, for those people that don't understand, is I'm gonna get some belt buckle and some slippers around the soft part of my buttock cheeks. For those who are West Indian and African, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that look, and it's a look. But just imagine, just for 1 second, and I'm not making excuses for Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., but this is what it is. Imagine you wake up one day and you are the son of a legendary boxer. You're the son of a legendary boxer. So automatically fame is on your doorstep, whether you like it or not. And I thought about this for a second. How many sons are better than their fathers? And you find, for the most part, if your father's been a world champion, you don't really gonna go on to be a champion yourself. And the motivation is different. Your father's motivation is, I did this because I want to do this. Your motivation is, I'm doing this because, yeah, I like it, but my dad, I'm doing it because I want to be better than my dad, or I want to achieve as much as my dad's achieved. And that's different motivations. So you can never expect to aspire to be as great as the person that set themselves a goal from day one to become a legendary fighter. You can never, you can't aspire to be that. Floyd's a little different. Floyd Mayweather, when you listen to Floyd's story, I mean, even when he was at school, he was like, I've got to get to that gym. I've got to get to that gym. So he wasn't as good as his father. He was better than his father. And he was better than his uncle. So he took from his uncle and his father to become a great legendary fighter. And that's the difference. So Chavez Jr. was brought into boxing royalty because of his father. And Chavez Jr. was under pressure from the start. You're coming from Mexican heritage, so they expect you to stand and trade. Barrera, Morales, so many great Mexican fighters, and you are with the legendary. You're the son of the legendary Julio Cesar Chavez. Do you know what sort of pressure that is? Just for a second. Every time you fight, there's a comparison between you and your father. You've got to wear the bandana around your head because your father wore it. You've got to box a certain way because your father boxed a certain way. You've got to have a certain discipline because your father has a certain discipline. And you're a young man. And the fame can go to your head if you're not grounded. Now, flash forward to 2020. I don't know who that was in that ring, but that was not Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. That was not. I don't know if it was a clone of him. I don't know if it was impersonation of him. That was not Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Or if it was Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he was smoking something, and I want him tested for marijuana. And I'll explain why. It's not the first time that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has got to the ring and he's been smoking marijuana. I do believe that he fought for the title against Sergio Martinez, and there were rumors on stories that he was actually on some pot. He had cannabis. He's smoking cannabis in that fight, and as you see later on in the fight, he actually, I think he dropped Martinez in that fight as well. See, and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. had the advantage of always being the bigger guy, the taller guy, the stronger guy. So he always used that as an advantage, and he could get away with it because he was bigger. He could bully guys, pulling guys up for a weight divisions, and just basically being the bigger, taller guy. So for his career, he had lots of advantages, and he had, I believe, Manny Stewart was his trainer as well. But you see, the thing is this: if you don't want it, it's okay beating up on people that have no heart or they don't really want it themselves. If you don't really want it in boxing, no matter what bandana you wear, no matter how much training you do, no matter who your trainer is, it doesn't matter. Because when it comes down to it and it gets tough for you, you are not of the same you're not of the same makeup as your father. You're not. You're not. And Chavez Jr. Now, when I say to you that Chavez Jr., I say to you, must have been a clone in the ring. Can you answer one question to me? Chavez Jr. in that fight, where was his jab? How many jabs did he throw in that fight? He just tucked up and was just standing around. He didn't even throw punches. Like he was looking for one overhand right. Chavez wasn't even boxing. He didn't even have fundamentals to like set himself up to box. Then go back and look at Chavez's fight against Jacobs. Put that Chavez who fought Jacobs and put this Chavez in that fought Cazares. Look at the two guys. You couldn't compare the two guys, two separate guys. If the guy that fought Jacobs turned up, he'd have beat this guy. But there's a common scenario. As soon as you start hitting back, he starts seeing blood. Doesn't want to know. He doesn't want to know. Once he starts seeing his own blood, he does not want to know. He just checks out. He checked out against Jacobs. He checked against this guy as well. As soon as you see a bit of blood, I don't want to know. I'm sorry, I'm out of here. And you've seen him in his place with women having orgies and stuff. Listen, Chavez needs to quit boxing, and he continues. You think about the amount of abuse he had when he first lost his first fight. Think about the abuse he had when he got knocked out. Think about the abuse he had when he lost against Martinez. This young man is an abused young man. I'm telling you, the sort of abuse he got walking down the street in Mexico. Cheat, quitter. And then afterwards, you see him on the camera afterwards and you see him smiling. You see him smiling afterwards, back at the hotel room smiling. Listen, that's not a smile of happiness. That's a smile of embarrassment. Trying to hide, style it out by smiling. But you're embarrassed. Look at that face. Sheer embarrassed. What are you doing with your hair? What are you doing? What is the direction of Julio Cesar Chavez? He's not a boxer. He's a celebrity. He's not a boxer. I don't know what kind of celebrity he is. Because usually celebrities are celebrated for something. A personality has been celebrated for something. But the only thing Chavez is being celebrated for is being an embarrassment to his father. Did Julio Cesar Chavez even want to box? I don't know. I really don't know. So I'm seeing comments in the comment section here. I didn't even see that. My apologies. This just goes to show that the son will not always be the same as the father. Look at examples. Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, none of these or the other boxers' children have followed in their footsteps of their fathers with any success. Boxing is one of those sports that you will get found out. You can't hide in a group like team sports. If you have any quit in you, these sports will find you out. Boxing, tennis, track and field, the Olympics. Yep. Yep, of course. Get exposed each and every time. Thank you very much for those comments. So, just because somebody's father and son, it doesn't mean they're very good. It doesn't mean because the father was great, you're going to be great. It doesn't mean that. You've got to put the work in. In fact, you've got to show more heart than your father did, to be honest. And that's very difficult to do. That's why when Chris Eubanks Jr. was coming out in his career, I knew that his dad would just watch him get the crap beaten out of him and just turn a blind eye to it, making spar with heavyweights. Because I know what Eubank was like. I know what Eubank went through. So I knew that he'd put his son through the same crap as well, so that he didn't embarrass him. You understand? You say Eubank Jr. has been beaten in his career, but he hasn't embarrassed his father. He's stuck in there. He's taking his lumps. His dad can say, you know what, you fought the very best and he took your lumps, But you blame Chris Eubank Sr. because he never managed his son. If you want to do that, then you never manage your son the way you manage your career. So that's a complete contradiction itself. If you manage your career, if Chris Eubank Sr. managed his career the way he managed his son's career, he wouldn't have been a world champion. He wouldn't have been a world champion. No chance. I don't think so. So remember, Eubank was meant to fight Mike McCallum, and he quickly pulled out of that fight for the world title. And I don't think Eubank would have beaten Mike McCallum that night. And you know why Eubank didn't want Mike McCallum? Because Mike McCallum was a body snatcher. He liked to work the body, head and body, and Eubank never liked it around the body. So it was a lucky escape for Mr. Eubank Senior. But back to his point about Julio Cesar, he needs to quit boxing. He needs to quit boxing. I don't know what he does from here, because he's an embarrassment, and I think he needs counselling. He needs help. I wouldn't be surprised if he's snorting cocaine, and that's because he doesn't know where to put himself. What's up, my guy? Great night of fights. Yes, spoke about them earlier on. So good to see you, Coach Chris. So it's a sad state of affairs for Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. But psychologically, emotionally, probably even physically, this young man's been abused. And some of that abuse is caused by himself, through the girls or the women to try and ease off the pain, and the drugs to try and find solace or a place of peace, because throughout his career, he's had his dad in his shadows, and he's never been able to shift his dad out of his shadows. It's a very difficult situation. Your dad went 92 or 96-0, or whatever it was. I think it was 96-0, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He was 96-0. How the hell are you going to try and go to 96-0 as a young man in modern era? That's just not going to happen. 96-0. Who's going to put up with you fighting a whole heap of truck drivers? 96-0. 96-0. Floyd barely got to 50. Do you understand? You creeped to 50. There are guys at 50, 55 and are in the lower weight divisions. I understand that. But Floyd barely creeped to 50. And even then, Floyd was fighting all the guys, all the names of boxing. So Julio Cesar Chavez stood no chance. And Floyd can actually box. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was doomed the minute his dad and mum lay down together to have sex. He was doomed. Right? Because that sort of expectation, that sort of greatness, so what was he going to do? Go and become 100-0? What? Nah, sorry. And you have to want it. And I don't think Chavez ever wanted it that way. I think Chavez wanted it that way when boxing was going his way and he was bullying guys and beating guys up. That was fine. But as soon as it got put on Chavez, he didn't want to know. He really didn't want to know. And Martinez was smaller than him as well. You know what I mean? So when I can't remember who it was, he moved up to light heavyweight. Just thought he could use that same size against a much bigger guy and got himself knocked out. Oh, that was That was interesting to see. That must have been traumatizing for his dad. But if I'm his dad, I just wouldn't turn up to the arena. I wouldn't. I say, I'm not feeling very well today. I'm not feeling very well today. I mean, I wonder what Chavez Seniors must look at Canelo and think, I wish you were my son. I wish there's some way I could swap this waste man for Canelo. I really do wish. He must look at Canelo and thought, that's my son right there. That's really my son. He must think them things because poor Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. I mean, we're talking about Junior and the abuse that he's had to go through. Think about the humiliation that Chavez Sr.'s had to go through, seeing his son quit live on TV. And the camera, every time his son quits, focuses and looks at him. I know there's always one bastard of a cameraman that's going to turn and put the camera right in his face and do a close-up and keep the camera right on Chavez's face. And roll the camera and he's walking to follow his face and make sure Chavez's face is seen. His face is seen. You know what I'm talking about. There's always that one cameraman that does that in your deepest, darkest moments when your son has just embarrassed you live on television. He's just quit, and you are the great fighter, Chavez. Now, having said that, Chavez did quit on his stool against Oscar De La Hoya. However, that was when Oscar De La Hoya broke his jaw and threw like a 5-punch combination at the end of the 7th or 8th round in a fantastic fight. And Chavez was an older man by then, much older man. So, and he gave De La Hoya the fight for his life. One of my favorite De La Hoya fights, actually, the second fight. I think I did a live commentary on it as well. So, to close, I don't know how it's going to end for Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I hope whether he's going to be a model. Looking at the way he's going on, he looks like a young man with lots of demons there, and not lost and not quite knowing what to do. And I don't quite know. Maybe he could turn to, I don't know, it's Marvis Fraser he could talk to. Yeah, think about that. Think about Evander Holyfield's son. He's going to have that. Nigel Benn's son, Connor, he's going to have that. If the Klitschko's have children, they're going to have to deal with that. If Lennox Lewis has a son, he'll have to deal with that. So, probably not advisable for your son or your daughter to go into boxing when you've had a great career. And if they do, then don't have the sort of expectations of them that Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. has. Because now, I mean, after every time his son quits, there must be some sort of emotional withdrawal. I mean, how do you cope with your son quitting live on TV and then them asking you the question afterwards, so why did your son quit? Let's see. What you don't want for him is to be in there with someone that is a very strong, mean streak that ultimately winds up hurting him bad. Yeah, don't want him. That's what I said. You want him out of it. You get him out of boxing. You don't want him. If you go back and look at the performance against Danny Jacobs, and then look at this performance he put here, chalk and cheese. Say a little prayer for Chavez Jr. and Chavez Sr. because I hate to say it, but situations like this don't end up well. The sort of situation where you hear a man committing suicide or putting a gun to his head, this is sort of stuff that happens. This is serious stuff. This stuff, mental health, right here. I'm telling you right here, depression, isolation. You've lost that fight now. How are you going to walk down the streets of Mexico or walk for America? People calling you a quitter. People calling you Chavez Sr. People calling Chavez Sr.'s son a quitter. It's not good. It's not good. So pray for Chavez Jr. and pray for Chavez Sr. That's all for me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. And once again, congratulations to the Charla twins, my brother Derek James, PBC Boxing, the matchmaker, and Al Heyman. What a night of boxing we had tonight. Thank you. Good night.